I'm at the production site, actually, in the office of AC Color Company. By the way, they exhibited at the DPS China 2026 exhibition. Honestly, I've never seen an office like this in my life where absolutely everything is sealed up to the maximum and most importantly with such a huge number of samples. That's why I really wanted to share this with you. So here we are entering, right, the reception area. Frankly, it's hard to impress anyone here with anything, but the guys did surprise me a bit when they said that everything on the walls and ceiling was also printed using their technology. I thought, well, that's pretty cool too. And then I started to come in here. I thought this was just a small part of their samples. Then I realized more precisely that this was just a small part. At first, I thought these were all the samples they had. If we take a closer look here, we have samples that are presented. The company manufactures printers for printing on both cylindrical and flat surfaces. Of course, with the camera, which is now such a new feature, maybe that's not quite their strong suit yet. Who can you surprise? But you can impress with the number of samples and the creativity they have. Here are the materials. Honestly, I don't know how many people, because I even asked them how many people work on this to produce so many samples. And when you see it all, you're just blown away. So, well, okay, these things, if you look, all of this was directly the product itself. It was finalized and all of this was imprinted. If we look here, a little shell, printing on top, trays, children's items, some little toys, inserts and so on, all printed. Here is the Grand Canyon in America, which is located there. Here's this thing directly down. I don't even know what this is. Even diplomas as such can be printed. That's how I understand it. They printed it themselves in this regard. Samples on, let's say, stained glass imitation. Well, okay, that's not very impressive. You can still surprise me, but if we're talking about the industry as a whole, it's cool. The types of samples they make and simply the number of these samples they produce. You can just take a look and they practically have nothing repeating at all. Everything is different and damn, each one conveys a different meaning to everyone, to each person who sees it. Do you think that's all? No, not at all. Look, now over here, see, they even have special attachments, special machines that do the printing. This, for example, could be, well, as an option, it's just hollow inside. This object here functions very much like a standard lamp, right? And the second possible use for it, of course, is if it has a sealed bottom. Then it turns out to be a handy trash bin, basically. See, there are all sorts of creative possibilities for this. Small tubes for cosmetics and other things. Today, for example, there are sealing pen cases here. Of course, this is really basic stuff if you look at it honestly, because you see, you might say, oh, what's the big deal? Who are you going to surprise with this? We can all do this and so on. But the real question is probably about the differences in height. Guys, take a look at the difference in height here. After all, the print head moves right here. And here it doesn't lower itself in any way. The ceiling just happens like this with such a huge difference in height. And you can see, of course, the print quality it achieves. Here too, the surface is absolutely uneven. I even tried to find the seam, but I simply couldn't find it. In this regard, so you see, there are all sorts of different options. They found these items somewhere, and sometimes a whole team was printing all of this. Just look, even glass. This is also, of course, glass. This is plastic. Here, sometimes it's 3D, sometimes with varnish, sometimes without varnish. Here are thermoses, so you can take a look at them as well. See what kinds of varieties exist. You see, they come in these types as well. And if I'm not mistaken, these are like metal ceramic ones. What kinds of design options are there? I just realized that to print all of this would take months. A group of people, designers, printers, would basically never leave the room. Look at this little difference in height. And you can see that, well, even though there's some deformation, of course there is. But look, there's no deterioration in print quality in this regard. There are glasses, bottles, boxes over there. Again, look at the tea boxes. They're irregularly shaped. And over there, it's going to be just crazy. Such a huge quantity. Here, thermoses again. Bottles again. So this is label-free printing, direct printing on the product. Of course, it's very expensive, but still, take a look here. This is plastic that looks like ceramic. Also printed and with a really cool design. It's one thing when you just print any random image that doesn't really fit, but it's a whole different story. Things like this. Labubu fans, if there are still any left. Here we look at the mug and see that, the mug is soldered, but the print is applied. They even have a special little machine for this. It's the same here. This is a mug. It was soldered and then this kind of print was applied. You see how great it turned out. It's even hard for me to comment because you could stop and look at each sample, just like how some women can spend hours endlessly walking around stores filled with cosmetics or whatever else they like. Honestly, I feel I could endlessly look at all the different varieties of these unique samples. This really and truly amazed me, especially because here it is also printed with a special kind of glossy varnish. You can't see where the image starts or ends, and it looks awesome. It seems like nothing complicated, but it looks fantastic. All of this, take a look at this, just products. They have machines with a very large height, 60 centimeters. So you can even print on parts like these. Naturally, these unfold. They are detected by a camera, and the print is applied precisely inside the product with precise boundaries and vivid detail. Again, you might ask, what could surprise you here? Yes, it can surprise you. But the application options they've come up with are simply astonishing because I have no idea how many people and how much time it took to make all of this for cosmetics or something else. Reservoirs. It looks like a bottle, but to me it seems like some kind of transformer. But still. We can take a look at more samples of printing here. You look at it and think, what's so special? By the way, look here, a vase. Even this has been printed. Although I'm not sure if it wasn't just printed, but if it was, then that's just super cool because I'm not 100% sure. Now we've already gone through the application samples. Look how great it turns out and how it looks. Here are some more samples. So if you thought that was all, it's not. There's more than enough for everyone in this regard. Look at the kinds of mugs being printed, the ones that aren't removable. Some are removable, some are not. These are the kinds of samples you get. They look very beautiful, very impressive. Here they are being printed. There is a printer for single pass printing on the edges of books. They have that as well. Inside there are product icons as such, printed directly. It looks like a thermos, but look at the variety of thermoses they have. They have them. Look at the different types of thermoses they've printed. Look, there's a bowl and so on. It's hard to even describe how amazing all of this looks. Beautiful. On the sneakers, on these ones, there's some kind of deer applied directly. Here with dots, with round lenses. If you look, you see the image shimmers. It's the same here. This one goes one way, that one goes the other way. Although maybe the camera doesn't really capture all of this. Again, they were printed. You see some small items are printed here. Again, it's direct printing as such. There's nothing complicated here either. The types of plastics seem pretty basic. But look at the interesting solutions, the design the guys came up with. It's insane, yeah. So I can say the following, even with this system, the version with lacquer looks absolutely amazing in this regard. If you thought the samples were finished, they're not. And just the sheer number of samples here, it's like, I don't know, probably more than many companies have. Probably even if you gathered everything together, you wouldn't have this many types of pile. Again, just look at this. See, it's not round, it's square. And as you can see, everything is printed on a cylindrical printer, or as it's sometimes called, a rotary printer, and the print quality is excellent. No defects or issues at all. Here are some bottles with alcohol, apparently. Here are some badges that have been made. Here are some more badges. Here are some more cups. And look at these, man. The design options they've chosen are just amazing, right? Like this one and this one. Actually, it's not that simple to do all this. Really, to make something like this, even a small one, it's quite a task. These cups here are the ones we've made. Yeah, of course. And look, even the handles for the knives are plastic. They even managed to figure out how to print and seal those. I mean, where did they get all this stuff? And here's the stained glass too. Honestly, I'll tell you, well, it's not surprising. But the design they came up with is really cool. The way they did the lighting with the lacquer, how well it all works together. It's beautiful. They really did a great job. Well, I don't even know what else to say. You see, there are all sorts of products like these. Here are some different versions. So I don't know. Honestly, guys, if you don't have any ideas, just take a look and come up with something yourselves. Because Well, I honestly don't even know how else you could showcase all the possibilities of UV printing, because the company is solely focused on developing and manufacturing printers. They have single pass printers, multi-pass printers, souvenir printers, flatbed printers, and so on. Just look at the variety of samples they have, and they really are just astonishing. Now, if we take a look here, the boxes are printed like this. Well, yes, I have to say, I'm honestly just amazed and surprised by all of this. These are kind of like playing cards. It seems like such a simple thing, but the design they've chosen is just amazing. And honestly, these are the kinds of things that, well, I would gladly take for myself and play with. Maybe, maybe with a child or someone else, but I honestly don't even know how to play this. I just look at them and they just look absolutely awesome. You see these little bottles here, maybe they're for perfume. There are also various options that are just eye-catching in this regard. Here we also have bottles, thermoses, and so on. Look, it's already been filming for 12 minutes and I've probably only gone through half of the samples, and there are even more of them. Here are some rounded ones, and here is glass. Here's another piece of glass. Here's a thermos, as you can see, with an uneven surface, very sharply slanted. Here are pentagonal cups whose handles aren't fused on. They print them like that on purpose. They have a special model for printing on these types of products. Here's another, naturally a cup. Here are bottles, those thermoses shaped like bottles. Glass again. Printing again. It actually looks like embroidery, to be honest. And this is ultraviolet printing. Here we have printing on cups. And here are rounded and square packaging boxes for tea, it turns out. It's even up there, actually. I can't even reach it anymore. So you see, there's a plate inside that naturally goes inside. And look at the excellent print quality. There you go. We can see, of course, that there's selective varnishing. Beautiful. Thermoses. You can see how many types of thermoses there are in general. It looks like they bought every variety available and just printed on them. Well, that's $100. I don't know where this is accepted, but it's a nice bill. Once again, we see thermoses and again, sneakers and wristwatches. Now, if we take a closer look right here, it really feels like this is actually analog printing. It seems like they're also applying foil and everything else to improve their samples. Again, for tea packaging. Once again, we see this even in the form of artistic paintings now. There are detailed portraits, thermoses, and mugs, as well as more portraits. Here is an absolutely amazing sample where we can clearly see that on this aluminum surface we have various unique effects. It almost looks like, I don't really know how to describe it, perhaps some kind of shimmering holography. It shimmers at different angles. Now we have glass bottles. Here we have special inks. They also have inks for printing on children's toys. In this regard, here and here as well. Here we can see printing on metal surfaces, thin materials like aluminum and probably Freegal in this regard. Here are magnets, products. On the edges of the book, the printing is done in a single pass. That's the kind of solution it is. Right here, it actually looks like a protective cover for something. For a toilet seat. This is for cosmetics. These are thermoses and so on. These are, again, thermoses and so on. Again, these are souvenirs and, again, book edges. I can show this again. It's not just for show. Bottles. There are even more products, such as insulated thermoses and so on. Once again, we see more toys, and yet again, we have this. Right here, we have some kind of protective storage case, though I'm not entirely sure what it's meant for. We also have various books, different products, insulated thermoses, and some other interesting things, of course. It seems like there is actually quite a bit more to see. Look, there are still many various samples and items that the managers keep here in the office for display. I won't go in anymore because I've already been filming for almost 15 minutes, already 16 minutes. And look, here are some samples, very interesting and tactile ones, carefully selected. Well, I don't even know if it's possible to convey the full effect, how it actually looks. You really have to see it in person to truly believe how incredible it is. Because if we look here, yeah, it just looks amazing. Well, it's the same thing here, but it's not quite the same. Here too, the detailing is all about texture and so on. Here as well, we have varnish, a lot of varnish. Here's some kind of animal, probably a rabbit. Again, interesting. This one is a cat. Let's take a closer look again. Look at the level of detail here. From a distance, it really looks three-dimensional. And of course, there's the lion. Look at how amazing it looks and how well it's made. It looks like embroidery, but in reality, it's all printing. But it appears as if it's embroidery. Here again, there are droplets, as if they've frozen on part of the petal. But actually, they're not there. Little patterns. Here too, there's volume with different gloss effects. It looks great. Here we have this flower. It also looks as if it's entirely made out of various puzzle pieces. There's a large sailing ship, a tall tree, and many different visual effects. You can see beautiful flowers everywhere with shiny foil effects. And again, we use a clear varnish with many different types of intricate designs and creative applications. And right here is the impressive demo hall, where various high-quality print samples are simply made for our clients on flatbed, souvenir, and industrial printers. These are the specialized rotary cylindrical printing machines. So, as you can see here, this is the massive and impressive demonstration hall. And obviously, it's just impossible to bring things like this to an exhibition because just look at them. The size, the amount here. Some companies have offices smaller than this. It's just a demonstration hall. Again, let's take a look. And here too, there's something else. We won't even go through it anymore. It's been 20 minutes. Basically, I'm filming a comprehensive video today where I quickly show you every single one of the samples the company has produced. As you can probably imagine, it's been an absolutely monumental effort by the entire team to make all of this and effectively showcase all the diverse capabilities of our high-end printing equipment. So guys, let's take a closer look at what we have here. Feel free to get some inspiration. If for some particular reason or another you don't have any creative ideas you could use, again, you can take a look around here as well. As you can clearly see right now, a wide variety of different samples are hanging all throughout the room. If you find yourself completely lacking any specific ideas or inspiration on how you can use WebPrinter to achieve a great result, you can take a much closer look at the platform and think again, because the possibilities available to you are truly and absolutely limitless in every way. That's all.